Peace and high frequencies. I have a trilogy of dreams that I got to go through. And I've waited all day, y'all. I've waited all day before I was going to go live. So I would have peace, quiet, and the time to just really allow the recall to take place. Because when I go through my dreams, I don't like to be rushed. And so that's why I was like, hey, I need to be at home. I need to be like done with everything. I don't have to get up and work in the morning, which is good. So I got time tonight. And last night I had a series of these different dreams, and parts of it have been coming out all day. So I'm just like, okay, whatever spirit has to tell me through these dreams, I want to be able to verbalize it out to you all so you all can get what it is. But also, when I'm verbalizing, I also receive like the message for the dream that's for me. And then while I'm verbalizing it to you, then you're probably receiving what the message is for you or your perspective on the dream. And then you can flip it and give it to me where I can receive the message that you got too. Because, like I said earlier this week, I believe it's more than just one dream interpretation. I believe there are several, many various dream interpretations based on everybody's perspective, because everybody sees things from different viewpoints, right? Based on your life experiences and your past life, future life, all your selves, all dimensions, all of that kind of good stuff. And so, last night's dream had a lot of different dynamics. I'm just going to start off with what I remember. And as other things reveal themselves, I'm going to go into that too. But the part that I remember of where I started, it was like it was a group of us climbing this wall. And we were having to climb this wall to get over to the other side. Now, if you all remember, I had a dream. I believe it was either this, no, it was sometime in September when I was jumping across this pendulum, and these pieces of this pendulum was coming off and then coming back on. And then I thought I was falling down into the abyss, but I got lifted up. This had a similar feel to it. We were scaling up this wall, climbing up. It was some people below me that couldn't climb all the way to the top. I made it all the way to the top to see through this wall to the other side. But to get to the other side, the wall started moving back and forth. It was almost like the pendulum. And it was like, how are you going to make it over? You got to jump to get to the other side. Now, if you jump and miss, you're going to fall and you ain't going to be able to come back up. So, how are you going to make it to the other side? So, when I got up to the top, I stopped. And it was like my mind processed everything that was going on how to get to the other side, right? And so I figured it out. It was like a few moments I was there. I figured it, and it was somebody that was next to me too, who was trying to get over to the other side as well. And everything was moving back and forth. And so I figured out how to make the center stop and just be still. It was like wind or something was causing to move, and I figured out how to make it just stop for some type of way. And it stopped. And so when it stopped, it was easy. Now at this point, all we got to do is just climb, walk, hop over, and everything like that, which was cool because when I did that, I was able to go across, but then I was able to allow everybody else to go across. It was almost like not the Noah, what's it, Moses? It was almost like the Moses story in the Bible that they gave us, where he, parted the sea so the Israelites could walk through. And it was like that type of situation. It was like I figured out how to stop the movement so I could get through. And then everybody behind me, I remember looking back and seeing people jump over, flip over. They were just so happy that they made it over, right? And so the dream skips over to me being, I remember me being, this timeline is a bit weird, y'all. I was in a timeline in which my ex had transitioned. I've told you all about, he transitioned in this reality in 2015, right before his 36th birthday. And it was like in this dimension, he was either my fiance or he was my husband or something. Like we was like together. But he had still transitioned. Nonetheless, he was still transitioned to another realm. And I was just really, really upset and distraught. It was like I was having that energy revisit me in the dream last night. And so I was really distraught about that. And I remember my ex from high school, which I told you all, he's always in my dreams. It was like he came to visit me. And we were supposed to be, he came to visit me, and was like, we went somewhere, but wherever we were, I looked up and I remember looking up and there was this wall of hieroglyphs. And so the wall of hieroglyphs looked like copper, but some of the hieroglyphs had colors in them. And in my dream, I was like, oh, it was just like I was with him. We turned, I looked up, I see this wall of hieroglyphs. And then we leave out. And then I'm back at the house. And while I was looking at that wall, I do remember this. While I looked up and was looking at this wall of hieroglyphs, I was receiving all these types of emotion, like, of my ex transitioning and all of that. And he was like fiance or something, but it was like my ex from high school that was in the dream that was with me. He was there to comfort me. And I remember looking up at the wall and then leaning my head on his shoulder. And within that moment, I had looked up at him. It was almost like I wanted to kiss him. And I was like, what the hell? Like this come from? So then we end up back at the house. Now back at the house, um, we had to go somewhere. It almost felt like it ended up skipping to another day or something. And I was like, okay, I gotta get ready to go. I was asking them, was the power back on? Yes, because the power had went out. The power had went out in the neighborhood. There was a power outage. And the power had went out in the neighborhood. So when I get back to the house, I was like, has the power come back on yet? And they was like, not yet. And I was like, well, I gotta go and do some things. And I left. It was him, he was there, and it was somebody else. It felt like it may have been my sister or somebody else that was there, or maybe a friend. So I leave, and when I come back, he was gone. So I remember asking my sister or whoever was there, I was like, where did he go? Did he leave? Did he already leave? And they said, yeah, he left. So I was like, okay. So I tried to call him. And when I called him, remember, I'm still having all these emotions in my dream. I'm having the emotions about, my fiance and my husband or whoever he was, to me in that realm died. And then I was also having these reoccurring emotional, like romantic feelings towards my ex, as well. So when I called him, the phone is like he answered the phone, but he couldn't talk to me. It was like he was in the airport. And when he was in the airport, he had met up with his fiance and their baby. And they were having a conversation about, the wedding and all that. And I heard her talking, and he was just, holding the phone. He wasn't saying much. So I hung up the phone. I was like, I don't want to listen to this. So that was crazy. So, and then the dream escapes. Now, is another dream that I had, and this all happened last night. All of these dreams occurred last night. Now, it was another dream that I had. I remember it was like it was this lady and I was a man. And so I remember it was like we were walking and we were talking together, and then we ended up at this hotel. And then she tells me about yeah, we end up at this hotel. It's like we was getting ready to have coffee or something. It may have been like a coffee shop or a hotel, some type of little lounge place. And she looks across the room and she sees this man that she knew. This man that she knew was talking to another lady. So that's when she starts to tell me a little bit about him. She was like, I don't feel comfortable being here, blah, 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 blah. I was like, what's going on? So we leave out, and she told me that this was the guy that had took advantage of her and that had raped her. And she thinks that what he is telling that other lady is possibly the same thing that he told her, and he may be trying to victimize her. Yeah, this all in the dream. So I'm like, what in the world? I'm like, so we need to first alert authorities that this happened. We need to let the police know. And then she needs to be saved. All right, so these are the various pieces of the dream last night. And I was like, hey, I gotta get this out. And like I said, y'all, even if it's just for me to replay them and then retrieve what the messages are out of it, sometimes that's why I even record. It's just for me to be able to get out, what does this all mean? Even climbing up the wall and stopping it to get over, and then the exodus. That's what it felt. It felt like an exodus. It felt just like that story in the Bible of Moses leading the Israelites and parting the Red Sea and allowing them to cross over. Like that's what that felt like when I was able to stop everything and cross over. And then everybody behind me was able to cross over after I figured out how to make everything be still. And then seeing the wall of the hieroglyphics, like leaning on the shoulder, looking up, seeing the wall hieroglyphics. I don't even know what that means because it just happened. It just appeared. It just happened. That was like out of nowhere. And the wall was like copper. It wasn't gold. It was like a copper color. So that was an interesting part of the dream. And then, of course, the power outage that happened. And then, of course, me being a masculine energy and then talking to this lady, and we walking, and then we walk and sit down in this coffee lounge, and she's telling me about the man that's sitting like behind us talking to another lady about him victimizing her and her going into detail what happened. Even when I came out of the dream and remembering that part of the dream, that's the only part of the dream that felt like this really occurred possibly in this reality with someone. Like this may be like a real story somewhere. And the man felt like he may have been a mentor or a professor or something like that, but he was taking advantage of women. And he would use like either his title or who he was to kind of finesse these women to get them, to feel safe with him. And then once he did that, he would take advantage of them. He would rape them and they wouldn't even see it coming. And that's kind of like the story she was telling me. And I was like, oh my goodness. And even the dream part of, having that energy of my ex transition again. Like in the dream, he transitioned. He already transitioned here in this reality, but in the dream, he transitioned. And so I don't even really know what that means to even feel, for that energy to come back up for me to feel that, of what spirit is trying to bring to my awareness, based on that. I'm not quite sure. I'm still working on, what does that mean? So this is the tunnel of dreams. I called it tunnel of dreams because it was a lot going on. It was a lot of series of different events that was going on in the dream world that I, at this point right now, I can't really even interpret it. And I feel like that's okay. And I don't feel like every time like it's gonna be like, I know what it means. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes when we receive dreams, it's for us to sit with it. And that sitting with it may not be 24 hours. I've seen messages, like I just told you all a couple of days ago, when I had the dream of someone I had connected with on Instagram, and then they sent him the paperwork to write a movie on his life. And I didn't even share that, but that's something that happened in my dream that all made sense once he shared his story. So I don't know how all of this is going to play out. One thing that I do know, where I say I feel strongly about, because we know that we don't know. I don't know anything. I know that I don't know. I can't say that I know because I have no clue. But one thing I can say is that this blackout, I've been getting blackout dreams for the past 2 years. Pretty much consistently. I get a lot of blackout dreams. So I know it's a warning. It's been going on for 2 years. I'm saying this to myself, and I'm saying this to anybody that's watching this. Let's build our community. Let's prepare. Let's not be in shock. Let's not be in awe. Let's not be stragglers to the end game of trying to figure things out. But let's start connecting the pieces and connecting the dots on how we want to move as family, um, with what may happen moving forward with that type of energy that hits. We know there's been a lot of solar flares. That there, I even got something on my phone earlier today on Newsbreak that was talking about. Let me see. Um, let's see if I can find it. It was something on my phone about the sun. Something's going to be going on with the sun. Let me pull up Newsbreak. And that's the only news that I look at because I don't look at the news on TV. I don't even pull up the TV unless I'm looking at YouTube or I'm like, ooh, I like this type of uh series that's going on. And it's usually like like martial arts or something. It's, trying to see what to pull up. But no. Thought I put it on my. Is this? Yeah, this is it. Look, this first thing that come up. 2 Chick-fil-A employees fired after video appears to show one spitting in the batter. Now, better quit eating these folks' food. I already shared that message. I already done shared that message. And this is here in West Memphis, not too far from where I am. Really over the bridge. Told y'all quit eating these folks' food. Y'all know what these people doing. Here it is. Huge geomagnetic storms are expected to reach Earth tomorrow. All right, and our planet is set to experience G2 class moderate intensity geomagnetic storms today after the sun set out solar flares of multiple intensity as well as some charged particles over the weekend. Now, this article was written on Monday, October the 3rd, 2022. During this time, the polar regions on the sun flip where the north becomes the south and vice versa. That's the magnetic poles, they flip. And that's normal. These changes also result in disruptions of the magnetic field inside the sun, which can temporarily halt the convection process in some regions. So they say it was a busy weekend on the sun. Sunspots can assume larger forms very quickly or let out pent up energies in the form of solar flares. So, we've been getting a lot of solar flares lately, y'all. You probably can tell just from your energy. We can tell a lot of things just from how we feel. Some people are just automatically connected to the cosmos without having to pull it up Like we'll pull it up and it's kind of like confirmation because we'll be like, I know, because either I've been really tired or I knew something was going on up there, or I know because I've been really sleepy and I've been really amped up and I've been energized and I can't sleep, like one or the other from the solar flares. But I also feel like the solar flares and things that's going on is just leading us up to the blackout. Now there's an eclipse that's supposed to when I don't know why I listen to different people and I hear they talk about this eclipse. They talking about some type of eclipse. Let me look. I haven't even looked up um, the eclipse. Okay, see the partial solar eclipse on October the 25th. Okay, so it's October the 25th that there will be an eclipse that's going on. So yeah, we have a lot of eclipse energy. We had the one in May of this year, and now we're getting ready to have another one in October. And that's, it's been a lot of different things going on where we could actually visibly see it. And I think in New York, I did read that the other day that New York was going to see um, the solar flares were going to be kind of visible in the sky, kind of like the aurora borealis, that they were going to see. Um, yeah, it was a solar storm. There was something going on because I just saw this on the other day when they were talking about what New York was going to see in the sky in New York. Um, but yeah, you all can look it up. I'm gonna pull it up myself. But it's supposed to, I think it's, and this was just like the other day that I saw this. I think it may be connected. Yeah, it is connected to the geomagnetic storms. And they said the night sky in New York could light up with auroras during the G2 class storm. So yeah, so New York is going should have seen it already, but all of this, um, like I'm saying, bringing it on back, is connected to these blackouts that I keep receiving in my dreams. These blackouts where it's, everything's gonna be blacked out, internet service, light, electricity, like everything. So we have to connect the dots with our family. And when I say family, I'm not talking about anybody who's like your blood relative, but we are family. Those who are on this channel who are talking to me and connecting with me and leaving messages and follow me, we're family. So having a connection, if something is needed or we need to have a route and we need to have a plan and we need to be doing warrior training, and I'm talking to myself too, like all these things need to be a part of our plan or our strategy within our group, within our tribe, within our family. And so we have to go through that. Another thing I want to share is what has been going on right now. We already know that everything is sped up, time is sped up, manifestations have also sped up, and we have to stay positive within everything. Okay, even with me sharing that, I'm not sharing that to scare anybody or to be like, oh my god, like that gloom and doom. Like it ain't even about that, because whatever happens is going to be just to clean everything out. It's kind of like blackout. Let's clean everything up. All right, so you just want to have a connection, because everything has to go through a cleansing process, and everything blacking out is going through a cleansing process. So just have things backed up, things that are near and dear to you that you want to carry over into new earth. Do that. But of course, we don't have any attachments, so the mission is the mission. I wouldn't say be too attached to anything here, but you want to have your basic things. Of course, you want family. If you have children and yourself, you want to be able to eat, take care of yourself, and we don't know, and I have no idea how long it could last if it happens, but I know it's been coming to me. So I'm adhering to the message. And so I'm just sharing it with you all. But yeah, I'll be in a positive mood. I always say high frequencies, but no matter what, be in a positive mood and release all control into the hands of the universe. And that's something that I say to myself all the time. And you all, it has been definitely working out. I have been in a stress free mode no matter what. I think I told you all a couple of days ago how I had issues with my chick and my job. Like they didn't pay me when they're supposed to, but it hit today. I was like, okay, no worries. I'm not going to stress it out. Me stressing out is not going to expedite the process. So we have to learn how to make sure that we stay in a high frequency, even when things don't go the way that we want them to go, because that's just life. But the beauty of it for those of us who have been working and doing the work and reading the books and doing the meditations and doing the things that our spirit has called us to do, then everything always works out for our highest good all the time. So there's no reason for us to get wavered or to get upset or angry, no matter what. I'm talking about anything, y'all, any and everything. So I definitely want you all to stay uplifted through that if things start to come and try to sweep you off your being, should I say, or your dharma is what and try to push you off your life path and get you off. Don't, please don't, because one little move right now can change the trajectory of what you were going to do, and it can take you off path and it can wave you off path. And not to say that that's not meant to be, because there's many paths to get to a certain outcome. But when you're already on the straight line path, why deviate from it? Just keep going straight. All right, so just keep going straight. That's really all I'm saying. But if you waver, don't beat yourself up. You'll just detour just a little bit. You'll come back to the straight path. But just, try to stay up, try to keep the frequency high. Do what you need to do. Be around those people, have those conversations, watch what you monitor yourself. Okay. And when I say monitor yourself, it comes down to what are you watching on YouTube? All right, what are you pulling up on these screens and you're putting your energy into it? You're letting that seep in to your mind, to your conscious, and you're walking in that. What are you watching on TV, on that tube? Limit yourself to screen time. It's not good for you anyway. But whatever you're taking in with conversations, what you're liking and hearting and thumbs upping and all that kind of stuff on social media. Um, when you do that, that's an agreement. You're making an agreement. So I want you all to understand, for those of you all who don't, for those of you all who, been in this life, you already know this. Yeah, I ain't talking to y'all, but it's some newbies, it's some new people that's coming to their awareness and they may not know. And so when you thumbs up or you heart or you like anything or you give the hug with the heart, like on social media and all that, and Instagram and TikTok and all that. And I took TikTok off my phone. There's just too much going on. But you are making an agreement that you agree with whatever they are posting and putting out there, that energy. And so even if it's something like hee hee ha ha, people will send me some things and I'll look at it and I ain't gonna like it. And I may laugh and I'm like, oh, that's funny, but I'm not gonna like it. I'm not gonna like that post. I'm very careful and particular about what I heart and what I like. Even when people send it to me just as a joke and it's funny, that means I'm in agreement with that type of energy. And so that's how social media and all these various platforms that's out here gets us trapped. It's subtle. It's subtle because you get to a point of like, oh, this funny. Like, oh, this funny. I don't like, oh, this funny. Or or sometimes just because the person who sent it to you is a friend or family member and you just heart just because they sent it to you. It doesn't matter. You got to be protective of your own energy. So whether it's on this platform or any other platform, be aware that you are allowing that energy in. And this is a spiritual warfare. And this shit ain't for play no more. Okay, y'all, this ain't for play. Ain't for play no more. So shit that you liking, shit that you hearting, shit that you letting in, that you watching over and over, and then you sharing it with other people and all this kind of stuff. These are things that you are putting your stamp on of approval to your spirit. You're agreeing with that spirit or that energy. And this is how slick, because these energies and stuff ain't got to come to your doorstep. They don't have to come through the movies anymore. They don't have to come through books. They coming right where you are, right here. You at work, bored, you know what I'm saying? Or, you waiting at the doctor's office and you just looking at stuff and you just doing, you hear, oh, I'm like this. And you just liking stuff or looking at stuff and you sharing stuff and you are agreeing to this. And then you're recruiting other people to have this spiritual contract with you and to hold on to this particular energy. If you're looking at people that's fighting, if you're looking at people that's or domestic violence, or you laughing at, somebody's pain or circumstance, or somebody making fun of somebody else's pain or circumstance or issue, you are agreeing to that type of energy. So y'all just need to be aware. I just want people to be aware to the agreements and the contracts, and I feel like that you all are making. But if you feel like you're fine, then you're fine. I know my spirit said I can't do it. And that's the only thing I'm saying. I know I can't. If you feel like you can do it and it's okay, then by all means go right ahead. But you are liking something. And when you like somebody and you like something, you're connected to them. All right. Something about them. Whenever you like somebody or you was in love with somebody, because now you can heart stuff, right? So when you was in love with somebody, you were connected to them. When you liked them, you had some type of spiritual connection to it. Something about it vibed with your energy. So that's a connection. So when you like and you heart all of these different posts, you're building a connection. That's why on social media, when you see you'll like certain things, they'll send you more of those type of posts. If you start liking and hearting certain things, you'll see more of it come through, because they say, oh, they like this type of stuff. Let's feed them more. This is their nature. This is their energy. The same thing conspires in this realm too. Even though you're doing it just here, it's still spiritual and vibrational. You're allowing that into your auric field. So those things that you liking and you're subscribing to on this social media platform are the same things you're going to see in your world. And that's why you have to be very careful about what you like and you heart and you bring it. So I definitely had to put that, just a refreshing or reawakening for those who've been here, and for those who are new that may not have heard of that before and never thought of it. Sometimes some people never thought of it like that. Again, I always want to represent my other sisters who I'm connected with, who are sending the messages out. Please go like and follow Velvet Ma'at. Velvet Ma'at is doing videos, y'all. She's spitting out the knowledge. She's getting the more information. She's already knowledgeable, but she's getting even more information because she's doing more in-depth studies. And I appreciate her for that, because a lot of us, like myself, I'm not doing that. But I love to hear her videos because it drops in my spirit and my energy, and it gives me a different level of knowing and awareness just by her studies, y'all. Okay, so it's a lot of things that people do. It's because it's spiritually guided, and when it's spiritually guided, it's like, your bloodline is like, hey, we got somebody that can take care of that for you. Receive that information. And she puts out that video so you can receive that information. It can be downloaded and you can start the remembering process so you can get out of the amnesia. Okay. So she drops a lot of great videos. Y'all go back, look at that. Some of them on her dream. Some of it was her. She's decoding some things. She's unveiling some information about some various books that she's came into a knowing about, that she's uncovering. She's going in and reading these books, falling asleep getting this knowledge. When you fall asleep getting the knowledge, that means it goes even deeper because now it's dropped into your subconscious mind. You're going to sleep, and then some more information when you wake up is going to be already in you to share with others. And that's what she's doing. So big ups to the sis. Follow Velvet, my aunt. Divine Connection 228. Divine Connection 228 is a psychic intuitive. She also works with astrology and with the stars, and she is divine within her nature. Hence the name, right? So she also does tarot, oracle cards, and she does intuitive Reiki virtual sessions and in person. So make sure you follow Divine Connection 228. So I just wanted to share, like I told you, I had time tonight. I'm getting ready to finish my evening ritual. I normally don't come on live late at night like this, but it worked out for me. And I definitely want to share. And I got to go back and listen to the dream. And as I always say, y'all, anything that you receive from this dream, if you have a perspective or comment on anything that I said, please share it. We're here to grow, we're here to learn. We know that we don't know. That is what makes us continue to ascend, because we know that we don't know anything. I'm not here, I'm no teacher, I'm a student, right? And the student is always a teacher, and teacher is always a student. And that's what we do, right? We give to each other. And so I want you all to share with me. I want you all to share with Blackfit Witch, and give me your pieces of knowledge and information that you may have picked up from me dropping anything that I've said today, whether it was dreams or the messages. And of course, as always, I leave you in peace and high frequencies.